Hello, beautiful Libra souls, let me say this right away. Tonight changes everything. Not just a little. Not just symbolically. But in a way that will ripple through your bank account, your relationships, your sense of self-worth, and the destiny you've silently been walking toward all this time. You're here not by mistake, not by coincidence, but because the universe has been whispering your name across dimensions. And today, it answered you through this very message. Welcome to Zodiac Whisper Tarot, where we don't just predict your future, we help you align with it. This is a deeply intuitive, spiritually anchored reading crafted for Libra, for this exact window of time when pain is alchemized into power, and betrayal becomes the bridge to abundance. Let's start with the truth. You have given so much, Libra. Your love, your energy, your time, always seeking balance, always wanting peace. But the scales haven't always been fair, have they? You've been the one holding harmony together while others caused chaos. And you've carried it all with grace even when your heart broke silently behind that smile. But here's what I need you to hear. That part of your life is over. What's coming isn't just healing, it's reward. And it's not small. I'm talking about wealth. Real, tangible, life-changing wealth. The kind that comes after karmic debts are paid, and cosmic tides turn in your favor. Tonight, the door opens. It may look like a phone call, a message, a new opportunity. It may arrive quietly or shockingly. But it's coming. And the only thing the universe asks of you is this. Do you still believe in the promise it once made you before the heartbreaks, before the letdowns? Because if you do, if you're willing to open just one more time, then everything you thought was stolen from you, love, respect, stability, clarity, it's all coming back, multiplied. That's the miracle energy of tonight. And listen, I know that sounds bold. I know some of you may be skeptical. I would be too. I'm a Libra just like you. We question everything. But I also know this. When multiple planetary alignments begin converging around your name, when intuitive messages start flooding your dreams, your body, your social feeds, you don't ignore that. You lean in. So here's what I invite you to do. Take a deep breath. Put your hand on your heart. And ask yourself what part of you is ready to stop settling. Because that is the part of you this message is speaking to. Now, before we dive deeper, let me pause to say something important. I want to thank you sincerely for being here. Every like, every comment, every subscription is more than support for this channel. It's a signal to the universe that says, I'm ready to claim what's mine. I'm ready to receive. This community at Zodiac Whisper Tarot was created for souls like yours, tender yet strong, logical yet spiritual. Your presence allows this space to stay alive and growing. And I am deeply grateful. So stay with me. Don't skip. Don't click away. What's about to unfold in the next few minutes might be the confirmation you've been waiting your whole life for. And if what I'm saying resonates, comment below right now and write, I'm ready for the wealth and love I was born for. Because saying it out loud, even in writing, activates the energy around it. Now take a breath, Libra. Let's begin. There's something incredibly quiet about the kind of pain you've endured, Libra. The kind that doesn't scream, doesn't break plates or cry for attention but sits there, still and dignified, while your heart silently folds itself into smaller and smaller pieces so that others can have room to be whole. That's the pain that goes unnoticed by most. But not by all. And certainly not by the energetic blueprint that weaves itself through your chart, your timeline, and your truth. You see, what you've experienced in the form of betrayal and abandonment, especially from those you gave the most to, wasn't just hardship. It was spiritual pressure, a forging fire. And while others may dismiss your strength as grace, the truth is, you've been undergoing one of the most intense karmic tests of your life. Not because you were weak, but because you were trusted to carry wisdom few would dare to bear. Every time you stayed instead of lashing out, every time you gave instead of retreating, you were not losing. You were accumulating. Storing invisible credits in a bank far beyond the material, one that sees all, especially what happens in secret. And when I say, tonight marks the end of that test, I mean something significant is shifting not only around you, but within you. Astrologically, what's happening in your chart with Saturn's recent karmic culmination, and the way Venus interacts with your solar 12th house reflects closure. But not the kind that is sudden or loud. It's subtle, deep, cellular. It's the exhale after years of holding your breath for everyone else. You're not just healing now. You're remembering who you were before the world demanded so much from you. And that memory of self is powerful. Because in that version of you, before the patterns, before the pain, lived a person who knew what it meant to feel secure, connected, and abundant. That's who you're returning to, not because someone else finally loves you right, but because you've decided to stop punishing yourself for how others failed you. It's not easy to accept that betrayal was part of the map. But it was. And the beauty is, it wasn't the end of your story. It was the final checkpoint before your elevation. We're not always told this, but life does reward those who choose integrity over vengeance, especially when no one's watching. And right now, Libra, you are standing at the threshold of a reversal, not just of circumstances, but of identity. You no longer have to carry the burden of being the good one in silence. Because the light that's coming to meet you is not transactional. It's not saying, you've suffered, now here's your reward. It's saying, you are good, and it's time you lived like it. In this moment, I invite you to reflect not only on who hurt you, but on who you've become because of it, not the scars, but the strength, the sensitivity, the stunning clarity. These qualities are currency now. They are magnetic. And in the language of attraction, what you emit is what you receive. So what happens when your field is full of grace instead of resentment? What happens when your intentions align with your worth? That's the beginning of real abundance. You don't need to understand every astrological transit or cosmic pattern to feel what's unfolding. You only need to be still enough to sense that something is different. That maybe, just maybe, the worst is over, and the door is opening, not because you demanded it, but because you endured it. And the divine never forgets endurance. It's said in gentle wisdom, not shouted from pulpits, that what's done in love, in silence, in truth never goes unpaid. And Libra, your soul has kept the receipts. Now it's time to collect. Stay open. The winds are shifting. You're walking into the part of the story where everything that once hurt starts to make sense. Sometimes what changes your life doesn't arrive in grand gestures or well-planned strategies. It shows up quietly, maybe as a message you weren't expecting, a conversation that seems small at first, or a sudden pull in your chest towards something that doesn't make sense logically but feels unmistakably aligned. Libra, this is exactly the kind of shift that is now circling around you. And if you've been listening closely, not just with your ears, but with the deeper part of you that notices patterns, timing, and synchronicities, then you already sense it. Something is about to change. And it has everything to do with abundance. But here's the beautiful truth. You don't have to hustle for it the way you've been conditioned to. The wealth that's finding its way to you now isn't something you earn by proving your worth. It's something that flows to you because of who you've become, what you've endured, and the readiness you now hold. This energy is not about effort. It's about receptivity. It's not about chasing, it's about allowing. From a cosmic perspective, the financial energy moving into your field doesn't just represent money, it represents resolution. For many Libras, what's coming is tied to unfinished business, a debt that should have been paid, an inheritance that's been delayed, an opportunity that was once blocked now being re-released. Sometimes, when your energy finally becomes available to receive unburdened by resentment or exhaustion, the universe sends what it had always meant to deliver, but couldn't until now. And that might come in many forms. You may receive an offer related to something you almost forgot you were waiting on. A sudden inspiration could hit you, one so clear and unshakable that it lights a new financial path with ease and momentum. Or a person from your past might show up, not just to make peace, but to open a door you didn't even know was yours to walk through. You don't need to know exactly how. You just need to be open. That openness is your currency right now. Pay attention to numbers this week, especially 3, 7, and 9. Not just on clocks, but in receipts, messages, dreams, and patterns. In numerology, 3 carries the vibration of creation, momentum, and divine flow. 7 represents inner guidance, alignment, and the compass that points you toward the unseen but deeply true. 9 marks endings, the sacred closing of one chapter to make space for another that's richer, wiser, and more free. And if you've been drawn to certain colors lately, golden yellow, pale sapphire blue, misty white, don't brush it off. These aren't just aesthetic preferences. Color holds vibrational codes, and your body recognizes what it needs to align with wealth. Wear them. Surround yourself with them. Let them mirror the energy you're stepping into. Take a moment now, Libra, and think of a person in your family lineage who represents success, stability, or breakthrough. It might be someone alive or someone you've only heard stories about. Write their name down in your journal, or even in the comments. Not because they hold the secret, but because their name carries a frequency that lives in you. You're not disconnected from their legacy, you're continuing it. Sometimes we wait for external permission to believe in our financial worth, but the truth is, you've had the green light for a long time. You just needed the moment when all the signs finally aligned, when effort met readiness, and intuition overrode doubt. That moment is now. And remember this gentle truth: life often blesses us through people and pathways we didn't expect, not because we missed them before, but because we weren't yet ready to receive. Today, that readiness is fully present in you. So keep your eyes open, your heart soft, and your hands free. What you've been waiting for is no longer far away. It's moving toward you with quiet certainty, and when it arrives it will feel like home. Sometimes, the most unexpected doorway to abundance doesn't come through a business opportunity or a stroke of financial luck. It comes through the heart, through the fragile, beautiful terrain of love. And Libra, for someone like you, whose very essence is built around connection, harmony, and relational truth, it makes perfect sense that your wealth and your love life would be deeply intertwined. At this moment in your journey, a familiar energy is beginning to resurface. It could be a person, a memory, or even a feeling that once meant everything and then vanished when you needed it most. Whether this was someone who walked away without explanation or someone you had to let go of to protect your peace, their presence is rising again. But this time, it's not about reliving the past. It's about reclaiming yourself in a new way because of it. The return of this soul or the echo of them isn't a test of your worth. It's a mirror. A way for you to see how far you've come, how deeply you've healed, and how much more clearly you now understand your value. You're not the same person who once begged for clarity or held space for someone who couldn't meet you. You're not incomplete without them. That illusion has passed. This time, your value doesn't hinge on someone choosing you. It radiates from the quiet power of having chosen yourself. And yet, love is still circling back, not to trap you in an old pattern, but to liberate you from the residue of the past. This return is about reminding you that you are never too far gone for tenderness to find you again. That love, in its healthiest form, recognizes who you are now, not who you were when you were still learning how to protect your own heart. As this emotional wave begins to move through your field, it's common to feel confusion or resistance. You may receive a message from someone who once disappeared. You might run into a name, a face, a scent, a song, and feel everything at once. Or you might be tempted to open your heart again, only to immediately doubt whether you're doing the right thing. These are all normal reactions when your heart is approaching the threshold of transformation. Just like with financial abundance, emotional expansion requires space. And that means releasing old judgments, letting go of fear-based protection, and stepping into a deeper kind of trust, not in them, but in yourself. There's a reason why emotional and financial breakthroughs often happen around the same time. From an energetic perspective, both require a shift in identity. When you stop seeing yourself as someone who has to earn love or hustle for survival, and instead recognize your inherent worth, you raise your receiving frequency across every area of your life. And sometimes, the energy of a person from the past returns not because they are the final destination, but because they are the final lesson. A reminder. A reflection. A choice point. You can choose them again, or you can choose differently, but either way, you are choosing from a place of power this time. Take a moment now and write down the first letter of someone you've recently felt a strong emotional pull toward. Not because it binds you to them, but because it names something your heart has been carrying. That letter becomes a symbol not of attachment, but of awareness. And awareness is where liberation begins. Above all, don't let temporary fear or resurfacing wounds distract you from the bigger picture. This moment isn't here to undo you. It's here to complete you, to close the emotional loops that have silently drained your energy, so you can finally move forward with full capacity. Keep your heart open, Libra. What's returning is not here to break you again. It's here to show you how whole you already are. And in that wholeness, everything begins to bloom: love, clarity, wealth. Let it meet you there. While the return of love can soften your emotional field and the opening of financial flow can empower your sense of stability, there's something even more subtle yet profoundly transformative that wants to meet you this week, Libra. And it comes through the element we often overlook, water. In many cultures, water is viewed as a cleanser, a conduit, a life force. But beyond metaphor or mysticism, water works with your nervous system, your breath, your skin, carrying messages your body understands even when your mind doesn't. And right now, your energy body is listening more than ever. This week, water becomes more than hydration or hygiene, it becomes a bridge. A bridge between who you've been under pressure and who you're becoming in alignment. And that bridge needs to be walked with intention. That's why the small rituals you choose to practice now, no matter how simple, carry magnified meaning. When you bathe or shower in silence, and you visualize financial struggle dissolving from your skin, you're not engaging in fantasy. You're communicating directly with your subconscious. You're teaching your entire system that it's safe to release old scarcity stories. Safe to let go of survival mode thinking. Safe to believe that wealth doesn't have to be earned through suffering. The body holds memory. Financial fear, instability, and anxiety can live in the muscles, the chest, the stomach, even in your breath. That's why when you drink water while whispering the words, "I am worthy of wealth," it's more than affirmation, it's reprogramming. You're telling every cell, every synapse, every energetic center that abundance is not a threat. It is your birthright. If you felt a slight pulsing or tingling in your solar plexus lately, a buzzing in your palms, or a warm sensation climbing up your spine, know this: your energy centers are responding. They're waking up. These aren't symptoms to ignore, they are signs of recalibration. The plexus, located just above the navel, governs self-worth, confidence, and identity. When it activates, you begin to move differently. You stop shrinking. You stop second-guessing. You stop making yourself small in rooms where you were born to shine. And yes, the palms, often overlooked, are powerful transmitters and receivers. When they itch, warm, or tingle, they're sending signals that something is on its way to be received, and it's often financial. This is where your awareness becomes the deciding factor. Not your effort. Not your logic. Just your willingness to notice. To respond. To say yes in small, quiet ways. The invitation this week is not to force anything open, but to allow something old to finally flow out so that something new can flow in. Water also represents flow and the law of attraction. When your energy becomes more fluid, less rigid, the universe can work with you. People arrive. Ideas land. Opportunities align. Not because you're chasing them, but because you've made yourself available. And sometimes, all it takes is a 5-minute bath with no phone, no noise, just the intention to let go. Sometimes, all it takes is 1 cup of water held to your heart with the belief that something greater is moving through you. And if you're wondering whether these small acts are enough to change anything, remember this: the most powerful shifts often happen in stillness. In surrender. In moments when we choose gentleness over striving. That's when transformation enters quietly like a wave and begins to carry us to a new shore. So don't underestimate this moment, Libra. Your energy is not stuck. It's softening. Realignment is happening under the surface. You don't need to see all the proof yet. Just trust the water. Let it carry away what no longer serves, and you'll find, almost effortlessly, that space has been made for something extraordinary to begin. There comes a point in every transformational journey when the next step is no longer about doing more, it's about allowing. And Libra, this is exactly where you stand now. After everything you've released, faced, and forgiven, the only question left is the most powerful one of all. Will you let yourself receive what's been waiting for you? We're often taught to chase what we want, to hustle for our dreams, to prove we deserve them. But very few are taught how to receive, how to sit still, open, and trusting when the good finally arrives. And surprisingly, this is where many of us get stuck. Because receiving isn't passive. It's vulnerable. It means believing that the blessings are real, that they're for you, and that they won't vanish the moment you touch them. It means daring to believe that life can be gentle after all the times it wasn't. One of the deepest truths I've learned through studying astrology and the energetic patterns of thousands of lives is this: most people are not blocked by fate. They are blocked by fear. Not fear of failure, but fear of success. Fear that abundance might change how others see them. Fear that money will bring judgment, that love will bring loss, that expansion will come with responsibility they can't control. And so, unconsciously, they reject the very thing they've been asking for. But Libra, this is your moment to do it differently. To choose differently. And that choice doesn't need to be loud or dramatic. It can begin with something as small and intentional as writing a sentence in your journal: I am ready to live a life of fullness. When you put those words down, you aren't just affirming. You're claiming. You're shifting your identity from the one who waits to the one who welcomes. Or perhaps it's time to send a quiet blessing to someone who hurt you. Not to excuse what happened, but to free yourself from the weight of carrying it. Forgiveness, especially the kind no one else sees, has a mysterious way of unlocking abundance. When we stop holding on to pain as proof, we make space for possibility to move in. And maybe, for you, the most powerful step is to share this message with someone who needs it, not for validation, but as an act of generosity. When you become a channel for good to reach others, that goodness flows back to you. That's how energetic exchange works. Giving from alignment is never a loss, it multiplies. Where you choose to take these steps matters too. In your home, there is a space where your nervous system naturally calms, where your breath softens and you feel most like yourself. That place, no matter how ordinary, holds a powerful energetic charge. It is your financial portal, your grounding spot for abundance to land and grow. Sit there. Even just 3 minutes a night this week. Not to do anything, but to be with the energy you're cultivating. Let it sink in. Let it wrap around your system until every part of you stops bracing for disappointment. Remember, what's good doesn't have to come with guilt. What's beautiful doesn't need to be earned through exhaustion. And what's meant for you isn't a trick, it's a gift. So tonight, just say it softly: I accept. That's it. No overthinking, no negotiation. Just permission to enjoy, to grow, to thrive. Not because you've suffered enough, but because you are finally ready. And when readiness meets divine timing, the result is nothing short of miraculous. Sometimes we wait for someone, a voice, a sign, a circumstance to tell us we are finally worthy. But Libra, If there is one truth that has echoed through everything you've experienced and everything we've uncovered together in this reading, it is this: you don't need permission to rise. You don't need confirmation to begin. And you certainly don't need to wait for someone else to validate what your soul has already decided: that you are enough, that you are ready, and that you are capable of shaping the life you've always dreamed of living. You are not defined by the moments you fell, but by the way you kept walking. You are not the weight of what you lost, but the light of everything you still carry: your wisdom, your grace, your unwavering belief in peace, even when the world around you seemed chaotic. And the most beautiful part is that you've done much of it quietly, with dignity, without demanding applause or asking for anything in return. But what if now is the time to receive? What if all the silence, the stillness, and the waiting wasn't for nothing but was preparation for this exact chapter? What would your life look like if you stopped resisting the good? If you welcomed in the abundance, the recognition, the love, not with skepticism but with certainty? Would you dare to live in alignment with the version of you that's been buried under almosts and not yets? I want you to take a breath and ask yourself, what do I really believe I'm worthy of? What part of me still thinks I have to earn what I desire? And what would it truly feel like to let all of that go? Your answers will guide you far beyond this video. Now, if any part of today's message has resonated with you, even just a sentence, I encourage you to pause and reflect. Don't let inspiration stay as insight. Let it become action. Maybe tonight, write a letter to your future self. Maybe repeat a quiet affirmation as you fall asleep. Or maybe, share this message with someone you love who's been walking through their own dark hallway, waiting for the door of light to open. Before you go, I'd love for you to write in the comments, I am worthy of love, respect, and abundance. Let that be your declaration. Let it be your energetic signal that you are not just a seeker, you are a receiver. Thank you, from my heart, for spending this time with me. Your presence here is a gift not just to me, not just to this community, but to the collective light we are building together. You are part of something greater, something quietly revolutionary: the return to your true self. If this message touched you, please like the video, subscribe to Zodiac Whisper Tarot, and share it forward. Every click, every comment, every connection sends ripples of energy into the universe, and you never know which act of faith will come back to you as a blessing in disguise. So tell me, Libra, what choice will you make tonight? Will you keep replaying the old story? Or will you write a new one where you are no longer the background, but the breakthrough? Your story is far from over. In fact, it's only just beginning.